Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is the review show. Let me just change the banner for that because this is the review show. I'm your host, Khalid Mohidin, and this is the show where we speak about the games that happen between South Africa and England. Um, so, so what I'm going to do is we're going to have a very interesting conversation. I just want to give you guys a quick update. Sorry for the moment. There was playback that I was hearing back from YouTube playing back sounds to me. And you see it's starting off as poorly as how the game finished for South Africa. As you guys know, England won by 5 wickets. And yeah, I can give you a little bit of a review from my side, but I don't really think I'm going to do that right now. I think let's let the panelists speak about it. But before we get going, obviously, as you know what you have to do, subscribe to this channel, click that notification bell for all future updates and all future videos. So guys, I'm going to introduce the panelists. I know you guys are very disappointed. Actually, let's start with some of your comments. We have Bad Panda saying, Aish, what can you say? We've got Jessica October. We were like effervescent tablets. Started out strong and then fizzled out towards the end. Oh, wow. Why did Nokia not play? It's a question that all of us are asking too. Very disappointed. Hendricks, though, threw that game away. So I'm going to bring on Mpo and I'm going to bring on Lucy because they're waiting patiently in the background. Mpo, welcome to the show in your Proteas jersey.
Gotta support. Gotta support.
Lucy in an England jersey. Oh Lord. Okay, let's start with the bad news first. Oh wait, actually, let's start with the good news first from England's perspective. Lucy, where did it go well for you? I know the obvious things like Johnny Bairstow, etc. And but other than that, where do you think that England stood out?
I think after Butler went, I think a lot of fans, I was on Twitter, I saw everyone was in doubt. And then Stokes and Bairstow started teeing off, and they looked comfortable. And then Stokes got out, and then everyone kind of doubted again. But then Bairstow was on fire then at the end, and then he helped with, and then Hendricks helped with his over. So, yeah.
Yeah. Mpo, it was quite hectic for us, quite saddening. It went quite well for the first.
Why were you guys sad? Why were you guys sad? It's the first game in 9 months. We haven't played cricket. This team we played against has played how many cricket matches?
Oh, now the excuses come out, you know?
No, look, I wasn't on. Look, I'm not excusing anything. I'm just saying, let's be realistic. 1 over turned the game. Without that over, if that over goes for 10, we win the match. If that over even goes for, I'm assuming it went for 28. If it goes for 18, we win the match. So let's not necessarily throw the baby with the bathwater. It was one bad over. It happens to everyone. That's what happens, and that's the pressure moments we have in cricket. Is that you need to be able to handle those moments. What I saw today was an England team where everybody knows their roles, that knows now how to handle chases, that knows how to handle a couple of wickets being lost at the top. And a South African team that's learning the game with guys who haven't. Bjorn Hendricks hasn't bowled in a T20 for South Africa in the longest while. Mm-hmm. So I just hope that he gets another game. I love his variation as a left armer. I think he needs to get more games. He'll learn from this and we'll move on from this. A couple of months ago, Lungi Ngidi got hit for 28 by Jofra Archer and over. Nobody said anything. Everyone just kept quiet. Let's all keep quiet. Let's move on to Paul. It should be a better game. And let's keep going. What I was happy about was George Linder. I think he's actually putting himself in pole position to be South Africa's #1 limited over spinner with the way that he was bowling. I was really happy with the way Kagiso bowled up front, the way Lungi bowled up front, and towards in the death as well. I think they bowled very well with a lot of variation, but also on the batting end, we actually managed to put up a score of 180 for a team that pretty much hasn't played cricket in a while. Faf's form is just incredible. So that's something we can talk about to the hills. Like Faf du Plessis is just unbelievable, maturing like a fine wine. And that cameo from George Linder, being able to come on, identify the bad balls and put them away. Those are the type of things that we can look forward to. And yeah, bring on Paul. It wasn't a run over win by England. This was pretty tight. It's just that one over kills it, and that's the nature of sport anyway. It's moments that change the game, and that was it.
Yeah, that's why I went with the title that I went with. My player moments are always focused on South African players. And I had to pick out Lucy did Faf for the first innings, and then I obviously picked George Linder, and I called it a bittersweet debut because obviously it was sweet for him, but bitter for the Proteas, and that's the headline kind of I went with for this particular one. Let's bring on Aaron on the stream because he's probably going to love this one because, I mean, we gave him quite a battering in the squad selection the last time out. I apologize to him because I didn't expect it to go that way, but let's just bring Aaron on the stream. Aaron, what happened eh? What happened is what you said was going to happen.
Well, not quite. I predicted South Africa to win, so it didn't quite pan out correctly. But yeah, pretty good performance. Obviously fantastic from Bairstow. And yeah, I'll take that. It was a very experimental lineup, to say the least. But I think overall a decent performance from England.
I'm going to bring Shay on because he's always has exceptional, obviously, opinions. Shay, what was the key factor for you guys? Obviously, Johnny Bairstow, of course. Not a lot of you guys had him in your sides, actually. Let me just put that out there. I was one of the few that did put him in my side. But Shay, from your point of view, what was the most satisfying part of this game for you?
Well, 4 words for you, Colin. I'd probably say which. Can you hear me there, Colin?
Yeah,
sorry.
I can hear you.
Yeah, so 4 words would obviously Bjorn Hendricks and Johnny Bairstow. Obviously, game changers in obviously on both sides. I mean, and Paul, obviously, I appreciate what you're saying in regards to Bjorn Hendricks' poor over, but don't forget, obviously, Tom Curran also conceded 24 runs in his over as well, which obviously elevated SA to the 179. But for me, I think I have to really hats off to Johnny Bairstow for me because. Obviously, not batting in no position, batting at 4. He really adapted superbly. He played shots all around the ground. I mean, he's got such a strong player. I mean, his bottom hand elevation is incredible, especially to the leg side. It's but it wasn't just that. It was deft touches. Backward a point. Over cover. It was a really great innings. I mean, 86 or 48 balls. I mean, I know Stokes made 37, but the reality was it was Johnny Bairstow show. He played fantastic. It's a really good bowling attack. Variety in there. Pace off the ball, great experience with Rabada and Ngidi. But I was very impressed, Johnny Bairstow, I have to say. So yeah, well done to him, well done to England.
Yeah. So I mentioned to him earlier on that there's a surprise coming for you guys on the show, but let's just hear from Lububalo. Lububalo, how are you feeling after this match, bro? I can't hear you. There's no sound, bro. Okay, you can come back. Just this. Yeah, you're just gonna have to come back onto the stream again, bro. Yeah, so we'll get you back on again. But as I said, there's a surprise waiting for you guys in the wings. And this is the segment that we're going to be doing now and again in every single review or some previews. And it is our Six Gun Grill guest speaker that we're going to have on the show. So for this particular review, we thought that who other than Richard Levi. Welcome to the show, Richard. I thought that this will be an awesome opportunity for you to chat to the guys and them to chat to you. Let's start with you. What are your thoughts on the game? And what do you think went wrong for South Africa?
Well, firstly, guys, nice to be here. I can see a couple of surprised faces when I came on. The game tonight was an ebb and flow sort of game. I mean, at 180 at Newlands, you're backing yourself to win 8-9 times out of 10 on a wicket which wasn't particularly conducive to scoring quickly. I think South Africa batted very well. But on the other side of it, the execution by the bowlers, and it might just be a rusting. It might be. I've heard a couple of comments saying about they haven't had too much cricket. There must be a confidence in the execution of skill. People will turn around and point fingers at Bjorn's over, but as was also said, it was a 24-run over from Curran. I think one of the turning points is probably Klaassen's over. I mean, he's a He's a wicket keeper that bowls a bit of off spin, not necessarily frontline spinner. And Shams only bowled 3 overs in the game on a turning wicket. So where's it from there?
So I'm going to give the guys an opportunity because I don't think they get a lot of opportunities to do this, but I'm going to give them an opportunity to ask you a couple of questions if you're okay with answering them. I'm going to start with Paul, and then we can go around the screen. So Paul, Lucy, and then Shay, and then Adam.
Yeah. So look, hi Richard. Thanks for joining. We spoke about that class note, which I think was one of the turning points. But I kind of felt at that moment, Shamsi wasn't bowling well, and he had just gone for a quite a large total, in the over before, or in the over for 2 overs before, and you kind of felt that you needed another spinner to kind of keep England down. It was very risky from Quinton, but it was. I just kind of felt that 180 at Newlands was. You should. I think a couple of years ago I'd expect to win, but over the past couple of years, like even like 18 months now, 180 is par, and you just you always need some runs above that. And I don't know how you felt about our batting performance.
Yeah. The first time, we were playing in Newlands, you got 120 under lights and the game was over, sort of thing. You had Shaw Willoughby and Alan Dawson bending around corners. But nowadays, as you said, and I think it's got something to do with the construction site. There's a lot of sand and everything else drying the wickets out. I mean, Newlands never used to really turn, and now it seems to be a sloppy. And if executed well, slow balls worked. The batting performance was almost reliant a little bit too much on the Quinny and Faf partnership and the guys who came in. I mean, I know Russie ended up going at 140 or 150, but there were quite a few top balls in that. And I think it goes down to the batting, same with the bowling, where a little bit of execution, a little bit of match sharpness might not have been there. And the rotation of strike often makes the big difference in T20. It's a weird thing to say, but dot ball counts can count against you massively.
Yeah, Lucy.
Hi, Richard. So, obviously, coming out of that game, what changes would you make to, obviously, the South African side or in the England side as well?
Oop, what happened there? Okay, we've lost him for a little bit. This is removing when he's ready. We'll bring him back on the stream. Guys, some of the stuff that Richard has said so far. Richard, are you back again?
No, I'm back.
Cool. Did you hear Lucy some question?
No, I didn't. Sorry about that.
Cool. Lucy, you can just shoot it again.
Hi, Richard. So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, coming out of that game, what changes would you be making to South Africa's side and maybe England's side going into the next game?
Oh, I mean, the South African side, I mean, they've put a 24-man squad, if I'm correct. I mean, there's some guys, and then there's some guys who've played international cricket for years that you can bring back in. But I think there's more of a teething process and a look to the future. So I think you might see a bit of chance giving, if you want to call it that, to allow guys to come in and show what they've got. I mean, England being one of the best white ball teams in the world, if not the best white ball team in the world at the moment, it'll definitely give the guys an opportunity to see what they can do against the best. The England side, I mean, it's hard to beat what they've put forward. I mean, if you really want to be hypercritical, you can maybe change the top of the order. But then Bairstow's been opening. He's coming in batting at 4, got 80. Roy needs to be given a chance again because he's brutal when he gets going. But then you still got Butler at 3. You got Joe Root, who's not even in the squad. Moen Ali can come in if you want a finger spin option. South African side, I would imagine they might rotate KG, Ngidi, and those sort of guys, and maybe go horses for courses and get Norkey in when Ngidi plays, or vice versa with Rabada. And in England, I think might change this side quite drastically for Paul, because it's obviously a little bit more spin friendly because the field's a bit bigger. But might bring in a bit of extra pace with Mark Wood if he's in the squad.
Yeah. He was in my team actually, but I mean, didn't happen that way. Aaron, let's go with you before we finish off with Shay.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Just first of all, Richard, do you remember your 95 against Warwickshire in 2018? Because I was there live for that. That was a pretty scorching knock. And in terms of my question, Richard, I'm going to pose you the ultimate one then. Okay, England have got the 1-0 series lead. How do you, Richard Levi, see this series panning out? What are you predicting in terms of the final result?
Well, to answer the first part of the question, I do remember the 95 because we lost. We scored 216 and lost the game in the 18th over. So thanks for bringing that up. In terms of the rest of the series, I think it's going to be a tricky one. I mean, I don't think that's South Africa's full-strength side. I think that's not far off England's full-strength side. So I think if they get the balance right, again, they might put out. I think that the third game of the series might be the most competitive, was they'll try to push out the main sides. But it's hard to not. I mean, you try to be patriotic. I know on both sides of the pond. It's hard to push away from England just considering the depth of the squad that they have. I'd say South Africa will come back strong in the next one, but England will win the last.
Sick. Okay, Shay, it's up to you. Last question for Richard before we say goodbye to him.
Hi, Richard. Richard, this T20 side, to me, it has too much of a test feel to the 11 for South Africa. Do you think they need to adapt more to the kind of T20 white ball approach in terms of the selection, and maybe go more horses for courses? You know, Van der Dusen, Du Plessis, Temba, De Kock, obviously. Do you feel like maybe you should bring it? For example, today I thought Jan Milan should have played potentially, someone to give a kind of impetus down the order, or at least somewhere in that top 6. Do you think maybe the approach to the white ball selection is maybe a little bit skewed?
To a point, but I mean, you kind of got to go with the guys who've done well in the past, and it's hard to now. And it's the normal thing as a fan. And I mean, obviously now I'm a fan sitting from the side. You almost want the results straight away. I think, again, being a little bit biased, being a Western Province boy, George got his debut today at a home ground. It almost makes life a bit easier and more friendly and everything else. For Janneman now, it's going to be tough, especially if he does come in. It's going to be tough for him to come in. Temba's game is adaptable, so it might be that he goes down to 3, whatever else, but you kind of want him to somebody who's a different dynamic, and that's the headache that's going to cause problems for everyone. But I don't see why Miller won't come back in. He's one of the guys. I mean, you still got John on the side. Trying to think who the other batter in the squad is, but there's a lot of different dynamic. We don't have a lot of the same, and I think that's kind of what you're saying. The side that was put out today, there were kind of a few of the same kind of players. There wasn't any like brutal power from my understanding. I know George came out and that's his game and he did that. We had stroke players at the top of the order. Quinny's obviously does what he does, but again in the last series, Temba playing the way that he played did very, very well. So it's kind of tough to point things in South Africa. I think if you go subcontinent, you can just throw power in. Australia, you can throw power in. But the nature of the wickets now, you kind of need guys that can adapt the game and are not just first to 6th gear. I think they can probably get away with that in Paul. So you might see some more changes in power hitters coming in. But I think they might have selected their side a bit more around the slow wicket spin, get in, score your runs rather than tee up from ball 1.
Cool. So thanks a lot, Richard, for coming on the show, for that excellent insight. Thank you to Six Gun Grill for obviously organizing this interview for us. And I hope you're going to come on a couple of more shows in the future. I really love your insight. Thanks a lot for coming on the show.
No, I appreciate it, guys. Anytime. Give me a shout.
Cool. Thanks, man. See you. So, guys, let's unpack it. So much was said. I think this is the part of the show now where we just go all out and say what went wrong, what we feel, what we really feel here as Proteas fans. Let's rile each other up a little bit with some of the comments in the comment section, because there's been quite a lot going on over here. Because I know when South Africans lose, we get quite hectic. So we've got a couple of ones over here. So obviously, Bevan Weber saying Hendricks threw the game away. We said that earlier on. Let's go with why Van Biljon in place of Miller. So who wants to answer this one?
I'll take this one. Well, was David Miller one of? Well, we don't know
COVID
who
guys,
were the
yeah.
two COVID players. Yeah, so it doesn't make sense that they'd go out without Piet van Biljon is a good cricketer. But you'd go if David Miller's available, you go with David Miller. So too, even today, Andile Petlugayo missing was also something you kind of scoffed at, like what's going on. So yeah, but look, I do think that might change in Paul, but you also got to give people a chance, and to a certain extent, that's what Mark Boucher and Graham Smith need to get to. Is you need to give some people a chance, and it was a great one for George Linden. He took it. It now creates a headache because you've got someone who actually can fit that number 7 role and bowl spin, and you may never need to use the Tabrez Shamsi or even another spinner again, the way South Africans think.
I think it's one of the best learning curves for South Africa right now, man, to find their best side over here and the best 11, because like Richard said, and I agree with him, because I've been at Newlands quite a lot, and I've spoken to the groundsman quite a few times on a lot of occasions, and he's complained, not complained, but I've noticed when I'm standing on Newlands how much sand and how much cement and how much all of that crap that goes all over the flipping field and blows over. Then you have to sweep it off, and then you have to water again, and then there's more cement and there's more. So that the building over there that's happening has really messed up the wicket, I feel, and it's very difficult to make to be able to create wickets that are as bowler I would say quick as they used to be at Newlands. We always used to have a great competitive wicket at Newlands. It was very slow. It was an Andile Petlugayo type of wicket, I think. I mean, having him in that side would have been a perfect person.
Yeah, and that's what I think Luba Balo spoke about on Twitter when he was like, "This is an Andile wicket," and yeah, it was the bowlers with a lot of the variations who actually did well. Those who came in and tried to land it on the seam didn't get as much, and as we saw with Bjorn Hendricks, it just became a bit of a struggle as he kept on going into that over, trying to find a length and a line, and also try to figure out what variation he needed to bowl. But it's how you adapt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's an awesome comment. Just go into it. Open up your mic and start talking. It would help if you guys talk to each other in the private chat so that you guys know who's talking when, so that you don't talk over each other. But I mean, just have a go. Open up the chat. I want an open conversation. England never panicked. They were calm. Now, that's an excellent point. Go for the chat.
Especially in the last 2-3 years, they just not forgot how to lose, but they never really give up. I think they really believe in their ability to drag their situation, even on a losing situation, into a win. And I think the reality is the top 6 is phenomenal. It's a world-class top 6. I mean, I think you only compare with maybe India and Australia, but they know even when they're a little bit of a hole, as they were at the beginning of the innings, they knew they had Stokes down the order. They knew they had Owen Morgan. I mean, Owen Morgan at 6 guys. 6. Owen Morgan. Look at his form of the last 2 years. It's phenomenal. I think that's why it gives so much inner confidence. Really starts from Trevor Bayliss, but carried on with Silverwood. So I think that's the reason why, to answer Original's question, why they didn't panic, because they knew that even Sam Curran obviously showed some good form with the bat in the IPL. They had it at 7, Tom Curran at 8, Jordan at 9. Even Archer can give it a whack, he saw, in the IPL as well. So the argument is back down to 9/10. So I think that's one of the reasons why they didn't panic. They remained composed throughout the chase.
Can we just talk about that Sam Curran 6 that looked like a Nadal forehand that went over long?
Yeah,
that was just incredible.
Yeah, that was insane. I was like, what is that? I was like, wow. I didn't even go over the... I was like, I thought that someone was going to catch that on the boundary or something. It just cleared it.
I mean,
It
the
was
guy's
crazy.
like 5'7" or something, 5'8", was about 150 pounds, and he just creamed it over.
I was like, wow, that's... I
thought
thought it was pure timing. Yeah. Lindo played exceptionally well, guys. Let's talk a little bit about Lindo. Okay, the second wicket I would say wasn't really an excellent ball. It was more like a poor shot selection from David Milan. But the first wicket as well, a little bit wide. But I mean, it's good to see him play with that type of confidence, man. And this is going to give him an amazing amount of confidence. And he's the type of player that we actually need. He bowled exceptionally well, I feel. He was very tidy as well. I'm talking about overall. What do you guys think of Linda as English supporters? What do you guys think of Linda actually playing against him?
Well, I'll choose this one because I didn't actually have him in my team, did I? I went with John Smuts. So with regards to left arm off spin, I suppose that could be one of England's weaknesses, to be honest. We've seen it in the past. I mean, look at India with Jadeja. We've struggled against him in past series. I was really impressed with him, to be quite honest. I know he's played very well for the Cobras over the past couple of seasons today. I think fair enough that second wicket with Milan. It was poor execution from Dawid. He should have absolutely dispatched that. But I think overall, his line was pretty good. His control was pretty good. And he really impressed me. I think he's left an impression on not only myself, but I think a lot of England fans, a lot of South Africa fans. I think this could be the start of something special for him in a Proteas jersey.
Yeah. I mean, I can see bits and pieces of the plan coming together, you know. I can see bits and pieces of things that they want to do. Like I saw a comment over here. I need to find it. There's a lot of comments, guys. I don't think I'm going to get to all of it. I might have to put on in the future. I might have to put on our what's it called? I forgot what it's called now. But there's these stickers that you guys can like donate, and then you can get your thing all glossed up and stuff on the screen, so I can find them because it's been quite a lot. Thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. Play smart cricket, and then I see Bavuma trying to do a scoop, so early on. I was shocked by that shot selection. I actually tweeted about it. I mean, I don't want to go after players specifically because I think that actually it was players that lost.
I'm going to defend Temba. I am going to defend Temba regardless.
Yeah. No. I mean, Temba. I understand what.
If you look at the balls
didn't understand that particular shot.
If you look at the balls he faced from Sam, they were very tight at the body because he was obviously bowling left arm over and across him, but he wasn't bowling the ball across him. So Temba had no width to play on the offside, and the ball wasn't too full for him to be able to pick it off and play it down the ground onto the leg side. So he needed to figure out a way to score runs. And so the one way is to try and get into the bowler's head by moving across to the off stump and trying to lift it over. It's a safe shot. He's played this countless times. He even played it against England. So yes, he made an error and he got an edge. That's fine. But it was something that that we needed to put pressure back on, because at that point in time, Sam was bowling too tight and he couldn't get the ball off the square if he was going to try and play it that way. So I think, I kind of felt I wouldn't have played that like in the first 2 overs, but I'm not going to vilify him for trying to be innovative, and that's what we want, innovative players. But he falls at the first try, and then we're going to start saying no, he wasn't playing smart cricket.
Yeah, so I'm going to be overcritical when I'm saying this now, because I'm looking for reasons that things went wrong, and I'm looking at this and I'm saying this was one just instance that I thought there was a wrong shot played at the wrong time. I'm not saying that he's not so smart cricketer, because he clearly is a smart cricketer. We've seen him play and adapt his game very well with Quinton de Kock in the past. So I'm saying in this particular game, what were the instances that I would say that it wasn't really necessarily smart cricket? For example, Bjorn Hendricks' over, we went for 28 in 1 over. I thought that the selection of Yorkers that he was trying to bowl, wide Yorkers, wasn't conducive for this type of pitch. Yes, Yorkers are good on any pitch, but I mean, the slower ball is actually one of his best attributes. He should have used it a lot more, I felt. He didn't bowl necessarily to the pitch in that particular over. We saw our Lungi Ngidi bowled. We saw our Kaisa Rabada bowled. They tried to take some pace off the ball, and England struggled when that happened. And the game was kind of in South Africa's hands, and that over just kind of threw everything away. And I'm not saying that we should be able to even clamp it further at the end. Yes, Lungi Ngidi, but I mean with Johnny Bairstow being in form like he was, seeing the ball like he was, it was tough to stop him at that point. Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys, and who wants to say this? And Lucy, you haven't said anything in quite some time, so I'm going to ask you a question quickly. I just want to find a nice one from the comment section, because there's a lot of comments. Miller never featured in the IPL. Why wasn't Nokia playing? I'm going to ask you about Nokia. Is that an immediate change that you would make if you were to select the Proteas side for the next game?
Yeah, probably I would. But you've got to look at it like, obviously they haven't announced who's got COVID at the minute. Obviously it was the 2 players, so it could have been Miller and Nokia. We don't know. But I would have put him in my side, definitely.
Mm-hmm. You shaking your head again? You're very upset with me tonight. You're very upset with me tonight.
No, I'm not. I'm not upset with you.
I'm
I just think we're being. South Africans always like to overreact after losses. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, you'll think that you'll feel better. But I wouldn't have picked Anrich. I think between Anrich, Lungi, and Kagiso, 2 of the 3 must always play. You need to have a spot for Andile or Björn Hendricks or someone else to come in and take those other 4 overs. And so I think in my squad I didn't have Anrich there. I had Lungi and Kagiso. He should play. They should rotate them. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they need to find a way to rotate the 3 of them. And then that 3rd seamer role needs to be rotated between either Slutus Pamela or thingy or Björn Hendricks. But outside of that, yeah, I think Anrich will play. I think the 3 of them need to end up playing 2 out of the 3 games. So either rest Kagiso or Lungi and Paul, but you need to give Björn an extended run on the side. He hasn't played T20s, and he's part of the plans. And so you need to give him an opportunity to showcase his and it's kind of hamstringing Mark Boucher and Graham Smith because you want Björn to play in Paul so that he can get over what happened today. Because if he doesn't, he'll never get another game for the Proteas again.
Yeah. So Lubabalu is obviously in the comments here, wholesale changes, and I'm going to get him to explain himself when he comes on the preview show for the next game. So he said Rassi out. He said Björn out. He said he said Shamsi didn't bowl well to his liking. Rassi batted too slow. Did say we will lose though. We've got Ravi ready waiting in the back end of the year, finally coming on board, like 5 hours after we were done with everything. How's it, Ravi? Welcome to the show, bro.
Hi, good evening. Believe it or not, I'm in a McDonald's queue.
Lekker, what you gonna buy?
I don't know. So many
Quarter pounder with
options.
cheese. Double
Are you
quarter
trying to
pounder.
drown your sorrows?
Yeah, it's quite a sad affair. I mean, I'll be honest, when I saw Van Biljonda finish off the innings, I thought to myself, we were at least 15, maybe 20 runs short. I know it's easy to say that in retrospect, but these days you can't go into battle in a T20 defending anything less than 200 these days. And unfortunately, England got the better of us. And kudos to them. What can you do? Just go and
What
buy
can you do?
McDonald's. That's all
Just
you
go,
can.
go get yourself a double quarter pounder with cheese there, brother. We've got Janneman to play the T20I. What is your thoughts, guys, on Janneman coming in straight away? I mean, I think Bavuma needs to extend the run. I honestly do think so. I think Bavuma is... I saw, for example, Ravi wanted to move Bavuma down the order in his preview. He moved Bavuma down the order a little bit. But I think him and Quinton can really do it. And I think in Paul, it would be a perfect wicket for him to get his form back. English guys, who wants to have a go at that one? Aaron?
Don't all jump up at once. Don't all jump
Shay?
up at once.
I will.
Lucy, what?
So it all depends who he comes in for, and where you put him. But I'd agree. I think Bavuma needs to have another run of his money. Really, I think he played a bit of a silly shot and a silly tongue, and I think if he comes away from this game knowing that, I think he'd be better in the second game.
Yeah, Umpo, I'm going to ask you this question quickly. A lot of the times before, it used to be the T20s that people used to experiment on, or the Proteas used to experiment with the T20 team. Now, obviously, with the 2023 World Cup, we're probably going to be experimenting with the ODI side. Do you believe that we should just show an intent and show a backing in this particular series against England and say, look, you guys, we're going to trust this 11. Or 1 or 2 guys that we're trying to fill spots, because obviously we know that that extra seamer, we're still trying to see who we're going to bowl as that extra seamer. We're also looking for that extra spinner, or who's going to bowl in that number 6 position and bat in the number 6 position. Do you think that that's the way South Africa should go, is with something more solid for this T20 series?
Look, I think the World Cup is 10 months away. This 11 is going to look completely different by the time that tournament starts. But there are a couple of spots where I would say, okay, possibly. So we've got the two. So we're going to end up with Arnold Nokia starting as a third seamer for South Africa with Lungi and Kagiso. That's for sure. But you need to give other people an opportunity to play. So I would have actually. The big issue about this series is that you find yourself in a situation where South Africa haven't played international cricket in 9 months. So a couple of the guys who I would have rested, I wouldn't have played Faf. I wouldn't have played Quinton. I would have played Heinrich with the gloves and had Janneman open with Temba, or even have Reza Hendricks come into the side. Because I want to see what the universe is of guys who can play this brand of football that Mark Boucher wants to play. But because we are not in that, you want to give your mainstays an opportunity. So the experimenting is going to come in the ODI side. So you actually might find an ODI side that might not have a Quinton de Kock, because we know what he can do. You'll have Heino Klaassen or even Carl Verreynne coming in at 6. You'll have Janneman opening the batting, possibly with Ariza Hendricks and Timber batting at 3, or some sort of a situation that works around that. I think for now, because you're trying to look to a T20 World Cup, this team needs to learn to win games. And I think that's a more important thing that Mark and Graham are going to try get to with this team, which is why it's the best possible side that they can put out there, outside of the fact that we assume that David Miller had COVID and Andile Petluguayo was in a similar situation. I don't know if he had COVID or not, but it was very surprising that they didn't have Andile playing, unless if they want to go with this 2-spinner attack, which is something that was pretty good to see. But this team needs to win a game, so you might have a situation where they'll have to. You won't experiment here, but you'll experiment in the ODIs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Abide, just be easy on him, boy. He didn't mean football. He meant cricket. You know, we know what he meant. I know Arsenal gets cricket scores when they play, but but that's why he's gotten mixed up. But I mean, it's okay. So it's okay to make mistakes. I made mistakes today.
But I would be happy to know that my team is sitting at the top of the AFC West in the NFL. So.
Okay, guys, let's just round this up because we don't want to make these too long. We want people to be able to still watch it tomorrow morning and enjoy it. So let's go around the top. Let's go with Shay, Aaron, Ravi, obviously Lucy, and then finish off with Umpo. Your final say about the game.
A great game between two very closely matched sides. For me, I think South Africa had to go for the win today. Obviously, they don't play for 8 months. After what's happened in the last 6 months, this T20 World Cup round the corner. It's only a year away, but the reality is you might have 12, 15 games. South Africa need to finalise their best 11 soonish. So I think it's important that they get the kind of 14, 15 players they're going to select that goes to India. So I think, it was a good game. I think obviously they might have 1, 2 missed selections. Like Van Biljon, for me, it shouldn't be there. I don't really think it should be in the setup at all. I think it's an opportunity for someone to come in. I think some young blood like Jan Milan. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, just an extremely well-oiled machine. Excellent white ball side, really great white ball side as he showed in the last 2-3 years. And I think they'll go from strength to strength in this tour. I expect them to win the series. I think they'll win the next one and possibly lose the third match back in Newlands. So, but we'll see. Yeah, it's kind of my thoughts on the series.
Cool.
Yeah, fair enough, Shay. I think I'd agree with that. Of course, a very, very good game of cricket. Excellent from Johnny Bairstow as well at 4. Very, very interesting to see if he does maintain that spot heading into next year's World Cup. For me, though, heading into Sunday, I'm going to be really focusing on Jason Roy. He's only scored 49 runs in his last 7 England innings in T20 cricket. So for me, needs a big score. It's going to be a decent ground, smaller boundaries. Hopefully, Jason can get some runs. In terms of South Africa as well, it'll be interesting to see what changes they make. You mentioned Pipe van Biljon there. If Miller can come back, I think he'd slot perfectly into the 11. But again, it's going to be a very interesting game, a very interesting series. Hopefully England do go on to win, but I think no matter what happens, we've got some exciting cricket ahead, not only in this series, but also in the ODIs as well.
Cool. Ravi, if you're not ordering anything yet.
I'm not. I just want to understand protocol. Can you actually stand in the drive-through queue?
Yes.
And can you be considered as a vehicle?
Yes.
I challenge that role. I would like to challenge that, but about 6 teenagers that are actually a vehicle. Anyways, but that's besides the point. So I think the long end of it is that runs on the board. We need to get guys that are going to score runs on the board. I think if the first Ravi Reddy's team, Cricket South Africa, we would have won. I really think, honestly speaking, when I saw that score, I said we were going to get creamed today, largely because England have so much of depth. Sorry.
Okay. Lucy?
I was
I don't know if he's still talking. We lost him a bit. So sorry, Ravi. Lucy?
right. So I think England were exceptional. I thought Johnny Bairstow, again, he's trying to prove some in. He always performs well when he's trying to prove some in. I think, as Aaron said about Roy, I think definitely needs to score big, if he wants to keep his space in the team. South Africa point of view, I think if Faf was there longer, he definitely would have won. And I think Miller definitely needs a place in the team.
Cool. And last but not least, Mr. Mpo.
I think it was a good game of cricket. I was expecting South Africa to be dominated. I think England have found a middle order gem in Johnny Bairstow, but it is just one innings, so we'll hold on to that. But he was very adaptable. He really came through. I felt that had they tried to get more balls of George Linder to Johnny Bairstow, he'd struggle a lot more. And to a point, Quinton ran out of spinners who could turn the ball away from Johnny Bairstow instead of into him, because he just seemed to be very comfortable with Heinrich Klaassen and Shamsi. Look, I think from a selection perspective, South Africa still need to find their balance and their form. But Paul presents a very interesting prospect with a slower wicket and a larger boundary. So look, we were 15 runs short today. I don't know whether we just lost wickets at the wrong time in the middle part of the innings, and there was a lot of inexperience going around. The question was, would a David Miller have made a difference? Possibly. But I'm happy. For me, I'm happy that George Linder's put his hand up, and I'm happy that he's giving the selectors a headache, because that's what you want, especially with the World Cups in the subcontinent. You need a left-arm spinner who can do this. Keshav Maharaj will probably feel hard done by, but he's in the squad. So there's a lot of left-arm spinners going around. Bjorn Fortuin is there too. So yeah, that's the battle that I think we're going to be watching. Our fast bowling is incredible. They'll still always come through, whichever three they pick, even four, because I think Andy Lepehlukwa is just as good as the three names, Ngidi, Rabada, and Nokia. No, he doesn't get a lot of praise, but he's just as important to the side. So maybe with a much more fitter side in Paul and a lot more people being more available, we'll see some slight differences here and there. But the guys did quite well. It just came down to certain moments, and it fell to a team that is the best team. I think the guys in the UK are calling it the best team in the world. So across all sports, they're saying this is the most complete team across all sports, which I would disagree, but it is what it is.
Yeah, ultimately it was a relatively close, a competitive match. Through in one or two moments have changed the game for me, and I think as Quinton de Kock said, it will be a competitive match, and both Owen Morgan as well said the same thing. So I think that these wickets are going to be a lot slower than people realize. So the second spinners are obviously going to play massive roles. I'm surprised that England didn't go with the second spinner for this match, but it obviously worked out for them, because that I feel like if you can get a guy to bowl a couple of slow balls, I mean, Tom Curran that over from Tom Curran could have changed the game in the opposite way for England as well. It's just that you had a guy that pushed on. If Faf could have pushed on, like Lucy said, we could have maybe just set that target a little bit more. I mean, I think we were 30 runs, 40 runs shy. 30 runs shy. I won't say 40. 40 is a bit too much, but 30 runs shy. 20
That's
to
a
30
Luba
runs shy.
prediction there.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but
So
like,
obviously, I'm
behind.
missing him.
We were behind throughout that entire batting innings. I never felt that we were ahead. I never felt that we were under control. We were just always behind, and that was the problem.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to see a bit, obviously, an improvement. Yes, you are right in saying I think it was a little bit of jitters. I think it was a little bit of cobwebs that you have to obviously get off. England is a well-oiled machine at this moment. You should be able to thrash us a lot harder than this game went out. Than this game. I mean, with that lineup that you guys had flipping out, I was looking at it and I was shaking a little bit beforehand. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, Rassie, I think you can see there's moments in his game where he's... Look here, people want to hate on Rassie, but Rassie scored at the same rate as Ben Stokes. One ball more, Ben Stokes. One ball less Ben Stokes had. So people can go on about Rassie and Ben Stokes and going on about Rassie. There's been patches with Rassie. I know I can see it. I said it in the group. I said he works very hard. Like too hard. He shouldn't have to work that hard to get his runs or to get into the game. And then he either hits a six to push himself forward and then he works hard again. It looks like he's really struggling. And I think that will loosen up and he'll become a lot more destructive because he's the type of guy that takes a little slow to get started. Maybe that number 3 position should be his. Maybe you should swap with Faf. Let Faf bat a little bit, one more down maybe. I don't know. Or Faf opening. I don't know. Like Ravi had Faf opening and 10 bat 4, for example. So
can I jump in on Rassie here?
Yes, of course you can.
In the 4-day games, he hasn't. Yeah, look, he played well. In the 4-day games, he hasn't found the form. Think about it. He hasn't played cricket. He didn't go to the CPL. He wasn't picked in the IPL.
Yeah.
So he's just as cold as a man who just picked off the street. So, give him time. He will come right. He is the guy that I back this man. I back Rassie, even batting at 4. Remember, Rassie played in that Lions team that won the Zazi Super League that had Chris Gale opening. Yep. It had Temba Bavuma at 3. Rassie had to sit at 4 because Reza Hendricks opened as well. So he's used to playing in the top 4, and he's the if you're looking for a versatile guy like a Johnny Bairstow type for England, Rassie's your guy.
Yeah.
We just needed someone to sit for 10 overs. We don't have that yet. So. Yeah,
I agree. Rassie needs some time. Rassie needs some time. For me, I will never drop Rassie. Rassie's been a soldier for South Africa for the last couple of series. I mean, since the day he made his debut, he's been a flipping soldier for South Africa. So I won't just drop him. I think he needs an extended run. I think he needs to get in there. For the World Cup, he'll be oiled on. He'll be in perfect form. He's the type of guy that he builds up to his form, and once he hits it, it's very difficult to stop him. Yeah, so
and
that's
I back him in the big moments. I back him in the big moments. That for me is the key.
But anyway, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I can see there's quite a few guys on the stream. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to this channel. Click that notification bell for all future videos, please. Don't forget to obviously like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get a lot of people on our streams and a lot of people viewing our content at the moment. We're trying our best to give you the best coverage as possible that we can. Earlier on, we did a daily show. Where we did basically a wrap with a buy on the 4-day competition. We had Dominic Hendricks and we had Joshua Richards on the stream with us, explaining what it was like to play together and score that record partnership. They had a conversation with us. It was quite an insightful conversation. So guys, please go check that out. It's on the channel. It was the video that we did before the stream, obviously. Don't forget to obviously subscribe to our magazine and click that link on the screen or in the description. Click at fanaticsmag.com. That's where you get all your updates on the England series, etc., etc., etc. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and yeah, we'll see you guys very, very soon. Stay tuned for what legend we're gonna maybe have on the next shows. I don't know which one they're going to come on. It depends on availability. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care, everyone.